Thanks to the organizers of CReCER conference, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to participate in this space for dialogue and action. I'm really happy to be in Lima, in this wonderful city, and it's a pleasure to share from the academia and from, as Lee was saying, this topic affects not only the profession, it also has implications in the development of our societies, how to strengthen and attract and retain talent in our profession. And as trainers, we are along that line. And what happens in the classrooms will define part of the future of our profession. And so the academic topic is not complementary. It's a topic that's key. And so today I want to share with you some of the things that we are doing, but we especially seek to generate reflection on what we should be doing, what we should be working on as a collective to imagine and reimagine that education, to make it more attractive, more accessible, and more pertinent regarding contemporary challenges. And this is, we need to have a structural change in curriculums because we have been working on conceptual topics and theoretical topics that are important and that will continue being important, but we also need to transform them to start looking at competences. And DFAC's proposal, especially, so we're looking at more professional competences and also soft skills and also power skills that, and also ethical topics. And what does this mean for us as educators? We have a great challenge because we have to train these young people so that they can have critical thinking. And that, of course, has to do with how we do things, how they can start forming their professional judgment and start working in complex environments and work with integrity. We also have to develop their communication skills so that they can take what they know to people that that know less technical topics. And so we have to integrate sustainability, technology, the fight against corruption. Everything has to be embedded into curriculums. And we also need to make technology and analytics transversal or cross-sector in the training process. And it doesn't mean that we should have a certain course in analytics or a certain course in algorithms. It's about the fact that each academic space can include the ethical and strategic use of digital information. And this is, a student should be capable of reading dashboards, but also read and understand the risks of algorithms, for example, and of automated systems, and also apply emerging technologies like, for example, blockchain, or being able to use, like was said in the former panel, being able to use artificial intelligence. So this transition is not easy, and it is not easy for us in our region. We have a very important topic in the academia, and it's changing the mindset of our teachers. And if the teachers don't change their mindsets, even if the curriculums are excellent, we will not be able to carry out change in students. And so how do we attract these new generations? There are less and less students. Just as there are less professionals, there are less and less students as well. And so who will occupy these fields? And it's not because students don't like numbers. But they perceive this career as a limited career that's full of routines and disconnected from their values. And so we have to change their perception. We need to show them that this is a purposeful profession and that it has opportunities to contribute to sustainable development, accountability, and inclusion. So we have to go to the families, to the communities, we have to go to the professional associations to show that this is a very significant professional and life option. So we don't have to use a flyer or a financial statement to convince them. We have to inspire them. We have to inspire new people with programs that can also allow to destroy access barriers or work on access barrier. And so this is aligned with what IFAC presented in a document. And in the academia, we could work on four things. Own our narrative and communicate impact. Promote, create new pathways and inclusive entry models. Embrace technology and sustainability as a core, and retain talent through pertinence, relevance. When a student feels that what he or she is learning makes sense and connects with the worldly challenges, they will probably stay there, they will be enthusiastic, and probably a future professional leader. And so this requires an articulate effort. Universities cannot do it alone. We have to join regulating organizations, employers, professional associations, because coherence is key. And I would like to finish now, but I have just one last thing to say. And I will also like to state my call to action. So, a simple idea. To attract talent, we first need to inspire it. And so, it is in our hands to inspire. We have a great opportunity. If we transform education, we can form a new generation of people that are enthusiastic. So, now I would like to invite you. We are conducting a large survey, a global survey, and here you have the QR code. I would like to invite you to share it, fill it in. It is available in several languages. This is for you to, this is so that we can understand and have a broader piece of research on the accounting profession's attractiveness. Now I will close. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for bringing out the emphasis around the need for academia to respond to the change, but also to respond in a timely way. This is so critical now that we need that pace to move of influence. So thank you very much. So colleagues, we've started with the ones in practice perspective. We've gone through academia, and now if I look down the line to Sandra. Sandra, welcome, and could we please receive your perspectives, more so from the regulatory side of that. We welcome you. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Lee. Bom dia a todos. Eu vou falar em português. Estamos aqui com público enorme.
Hello, I'm going to speak in Portuguese. I come from the Institute of the Court of Accounts of the Union and the companies of auditing. So I'm going to speak in Portuguese. So in Brazil, there's 530,000 accountants, and in Brazil, to work in auditing, you need to be an accountant and to be a registered accountant. In the council, it's over 700,000 professionals. And we are also concerned with this, with the with having the council be adhering to this great journey that is headed by the SAC in the attraction into the profession and the retaining the attraction of the youth for this profession and the retention of those who are in the profession so that they stay in it and they grow and they contribute. So the Federal Council has approved by the end of last year, along with the Ministry of Education, the academia, a great movement. The Federal Council of Accountants has approved a curricular change, looking exactly to get change the profession into a more attractive profession, because the traditional model is not attracting the youth anymore. We need to, it simply doesn't enchant or attract for them to come and be retained in the profession. So here I'm going to bring what actually inspired that change in this study plan in the profession of accounting sciences in Brazil. So first, there's a change in the scenario. There is emerging trends in the scenario of businesses. So nowadays we have technology, automation, and so we need a person to be a graduate or of a high-level course for them to do automatic work. So many works right now, technology has changed the way we do accounting, we analyze, and how we audit the accounts. We have blockchain, big data, IFI. So global businesses, the complexity, the compliance, the call for transparency. So there's a whole lot of demand. There's a fiscal complexity in all of the countries. So businesses nowadays don't have barriers, don't have frontiers. They are global. And that is something that attracts the youth. They like the challenges. The business model is very disruptive now with the startups, with the e-commerce, with cryptocurrency, and so on. And mainly, there's something that I like a lot, which is the focus in the ESG. So we need to get trained, and I think that is really attractive for the youth. They are very engaged with environmental things, with governance. They have the openness. When they did 3 questions here, it was unanimous. What is the issue with the country? Corruption was the word that was highlighted the most. So we need governance. We need governance for the public sector and the private sector, both for the informations that are demanded by the citizen, by the taxpayer, and by the consumer and the user. So nowadays we have the youth with a mindset, a vision that is very critical. The business, the globalization, and the international market, it brings lots of opportunities, but also brings a lot of challenges. And the one we're seeing right now in academia, what is going to start with our study plan are the things that have to do with sustainability, because we need to get professors ready to talk properly with a deep knowledge about sustainability, about governance. Our study plan was approved last year, but we hope, or we're working a lot towards in order to have in 4 to 5 years to get a level of maturity that's able to train new generations of accountants. So for this study plan, it was approved, as I said, and for that, or with that, it's bringing new demands. So what is it that the schools are looking for? The talents, the skills, the capacities that needs to be brought in order to attract and enchant the youth, the accounting sciences students. We need to have a study plan that is focused in technology, in automation. We need to have an accountant that is focused in the activities that add value, to have a voice to do automated activities. We don't want robots, we want to use technology. Until now, I've heard so many talks about that, the importance of the proper use of those tools. We need to have expertise in ESG. The market demands it. The investors, the consumers, they demand it. It's not a trend. It's not something that is going to go away. It's a concept that came to stay. And we need to reposition the accountant professional. They need to go out there from executor to decision maker. So, to be able to back that decision making, to be able to guide the companies, to be able to guide the economy towards wealth and sustainability. For that, they need to have a critical thinking, a critical vision in the business that's crucial for them to contribute in decision making. They need to have a quick adoption. I think that, you feel like Tom is running, and it is running. You cannot think that tomorrow I'm going to get updated and this and that. Updating needs to happen now. It needs to be dynamic. I need to develop talent and skills, interpersonal skills, interdisciplinary skills. So the accountant needs to be in the decision-making table, in the strategic discussions. Therefore, nowadays we have, and we placed it here, the accounting needs to be in real time. So we need to be there day to day, accompanied minute by minute to the business, to the action of our clients. So we need to strengthen our knowledge in governance and in risks and in the different orientations for risk mitigations, cyber risk, financial risk. We need to be strategic partners, one and side again. I think we're talking that in the next few years we need to be strategic partners in ESG. And then again, what is it? What kind of role of class identities that we need to develop? So we need to have an approach with a focus in skills development, talents, capacities. We need to promote, and the academia needs to be involved in the development of research projects. The universities need to be involved with the continuous process of learning. A program that in Brazil is actually mandatory for the auditing accountant in a company. They need to comply with a very strict program of learning.
Certainly delivered with a great sense of passion and commitment. So thank you very much. Colleagues, we've sort of gone through the first half, which was to present out the different perspectives, as you've heard. The second half of this is actually the dialogue, the engagement, the questions and answers. And I'd indicated I've got a few that we're going to start with, and we'll just see how we go in terms of time. So if I could ask the panellists, I will sort of direct a few of these to different ones, but if we can try and keep our responses fairly brief, it'll allow us to move through as much as we can. Maria Elena, you're on my left here, so we might start with you. You're hearing so much reference to technology, artificial intelligence, the transformation that's happening with our accounting profession, irrespective of the sector. As the AI and technology becomes more embedded into our work practices, what advice or what encouragement would you give to our accounting profession to rethink education pathways and talent development? What are the one or two actions you think are really important at this time?
Yes, Lee, it's a challenge for a profession and also for education, because artificial intelligence, and just as a small anecdote, when it started, many teachers or professors didn't want to pay attention to it, and many students started using it for their own schoolwork, and they even fooled some of the teachers or professors. And so then we had some debates on that. But artificial intelligence is there, and it's here to stay, and it's transforming, and it's intelligence that allows to have more automation. But there is something that we need to work on. But we also need to have critical thinking. So we have that challenge. Use artificial intelligence with the students and teach them and challenge them and promote practical cases, exercises that allow them to think beyond that. So even if artificial intelligence can produce a very nice prompt, that is not necessarily going to be the final answer. The final answer is in critical thinking, is in analytical thinking that we have to continue developing in students.
To the panelists, if we try and capture what we've heard as well, that we've got this common global challenge, but it does vary between regions. So what might work in one particular region may not be the right approach in the next. No great surprise there. But at the heart of this is strong collaboration. The reason we brought this panel together exactly the way it is in a sense to hear the different perspectives, but also how do we then get a stronger sense of collaboration? Because without that, it remains just operating nearly in isolation. That might be a bit strong, but that's how it can feel. So I'd welcome your thoughts about how to address the coordinated efforts from educators, professional accounting organisations, IFAC members, regulators, practitioners and other stakeholders. And Aris, could I come to you first just around this theme of collaboration, and then Sandra will come to you.
Gracias, Lee. La colaboración es...
Thank you, Lee. Collaboration is instrumental, and I believe that the work done by the GPPC is very good for this because it puts together studies that can be very pertinent for different territories. So that's where what I would start with. What can we leverage? How can we leverage these insights? And also the Center for Art Equality from the United States produces some interesting reports. They issued a report at the end of April, a very good report. I recommend you read it, and it deals with how we can attract students to our profession. And there we can find very interesting things, like, for example, at what point in the career should we talk to the students? Because these generations are very practical, despite what one may think. And so the message that we carry to that audience has to be very precise. It has to talk about their interests. And what that study says is that the idea of social value that the accountant has might not be the message that they want to hear. Maybe they want to hear about how stable the career is, about are there jobs, is there employment, how good are the salaries, and so I understand that we have to leverage those published studies. That's a first step. Leveraging those studies is a first step, but then as a professional leaders, we have to try to regroup all sectors in that ecosystem that I showed before in initiatives that help improve the attractiveness towards a profession from from schools and not from universities, because at universities they already know what they want to study or do. We have to take the message to the schools and deliver them these pragmatic messages on why they should come to our profession.
Sandra, I will come to you with that same question, but I might come back just around the perceptions issue in my next question to you. Thank you. Please, Sandra.
Sim, ouvindo do que vocês dois disseram.
about what you're talking about. I think, friends, that we need to simplify a little bit the complexity, the regulatory complexity, and taxing complexity of our profession. So somebody may come with a little knowledge in accountability. We're going to talk about Brazil. We have 3 entities, the union, the state, and the municipalities, each one of them with their own complexity in accountability. There's 26 states, and each one has their own code in taxing. A municipality has their own code as well. The union has their own code as well. And we just approved the first phase of a taxing reform that aims to simplify the taxes. But still, until we attain that, we reduce that complexity, I don't see how that complexity can attract and retain the youth in this profession. Also the regulators, we have the Commission of Real Estate, the Central Bank of the Financial System, the SUSEP, which is the Superintendency of Insurances. So it's a whole lot of obligations that are imposed and regulations and legislation that is imposed. The international regulations that are also so dynamic. There is an amendment here, a modification there, a novelty there. It's not a critic, but it's just that how do we demand this from the professional? And they wonder, I'm going to do all of that whole world of work. Obviously, you're not going to do it all. You're going to get specialized in a certain area, but still, even if you're specialized, the demand or studies of knowledge complexity is so big. And how much is it that that market is actually going to pay? How much am I going to make to be such a demanded professional? And that needs to be always updated. So I think that we have, in Brazil, I think that we see that complexity in Latin America and the Caribbean. But imagine if it's just Brazil, this complexity is 5,000 municipalities, each one with their own taxing code. It's pretty complex, too complex. So I think that we need to go on a journey of simplification, and that is definitely going to lead to a better acceptance in the youth.
If I could come back to you, because in your last response, you spoke somewhat around the ongoing preconceptions or views about the accounting profession. And I'm well aware that part of what the GPPC is wishing to do is to largely dispel some of what might come through from the studies. But is there anything further, or the gathering of data, I should say, is there anything further you would say at this time? How do we move away from those stereotypical, outdated views about our profession?
Sí, gracias.
Maria Elena.
Yes. María Elena, y después.
All about the stereotypes of our profession remain in place, yet we all would agree we're not that stereotype or that perception. The GPP's works gathering the data to alleviate that. But what more can we do even now?
Es muy buena pregunta. Parte de lo que
That's a very good question. Part of what is being done in other territories, for example, GPPC is working on campaigns, advertising campaigns. It's also working with IFAC to produce studies that will help shift the narrative. And once again, I would like to highlight work done by the Center for Equality, and they carried out campaigns that reached millions of students. And it's interesting to see how the message went through social media, YouTube, Instagram, and it was about storytelling, different storytelling to shift the stereotypes. And what they explained is the flexibility that we can have in our profession, the scope of action that we are also that we have in our profession. so that when these kids look at an accountant, they have in mind someone that's buried in paperwork, and they don't know that we can work in compliance. They don't know that we can report on sustainability, internal auditors, external auditors. They don't know that we can do a lot of things. I've worked in cybersecurity projects, which is not my area, and I have worked in systems implementation projects. But if we don't explain that to the new generations, they will not know about it. And so I believe that we have to do a lot of dissemination work to change those stereotypes.
Is around the multiple communication channels. Use the ones in which they're getting information from on a daily basis. Thank you. Maria Elena, the same question. You're right there every day with the students. You hear what they say, you sense what they're doing. What can we do?
Bueno, coincido mucho.
I agree with what has just been said. I believe that we have to change the narrative. The profession is a profession that makes a lot of sense. It's a profession that that has a lot of social importance, but is still seen or perceived with like what you were saying. But we have to come together to make this change, and it's not easy because for years we have been carrying that very strong stereotype. And it's true that the different fields of action must be shown to young people. Our different fields of action must be shown to young people. It's not only assurance, accounting. We have many other work scenarios in which professionals that manage risk can be also present. And this is what you were saying in your former answer. And I would like to add something to a question on how we work together. When we are together, when we come together, we are very close to employers, to great auditing firms. We always are debating on how we can take steps so that we have more students and then future professionals for the firms, because this is a problem that everyone shares. And we have found that in teamwork and in discussing with young people, in our discussions with young people, not only at university, but way before, in the families, in the schools, and in the communities, well, we can talk about the opportunities of our profession, and they have to, and those that are practicing the profession have to hear this as well. The young accountants that are innovative and that are generating change, this generates connection between these two young people, the one that's already practicing the profession and the younger one.
Interessante com os jovens. Nós estamos fazendo, são várias ações, fazendo Olimpíadas do Conhecimento, envolvendo jovens em várias medidas. Os conselhos regionais têm estimulado muito a publicação de artigos, têm lançado prêmios de publicação, especialmente para os jovens. O jovem estudante, o jovem empreendedor, aquele recém-formado em contabilidade. Então, estamos, além dessa mudança na grade curricular, que é muito importante para tornar atrativa, o Conselho Federal está vindo com uma...
In all the media, in all the networks, they're talking about to the youth, and they're trying to show the value of the profession, the social value, the value that is presented and that is brought for the society as a whole. So we're working very strongly to provide that image of the accounting career as a dynamic career and interesting for them, and that is involved with sustainability, governance, and economic development.
On the screen, we've got a number of questions that are starting to come up. I'm not going to pick each one, but perhaps if you get a moment just to look at those questions and see if there's something that you may want to reflect on. Maria Elena, I did see that there was a question around declining pass rates. It's the second one there. I suppose I'd like to just get your perspective that from where you see things, are we seeing declining pass rates occurring? And I presume it's both within students and then also their professional qualifications as well. But is that how you're seeing it from your perspective, that there is a level of declining pass rates?
Sí, nosotros sí experimentamos definitivamente. Yo llevo en el mundo académico muchos años y la cantidad de estudiantes que ingresaban a las aulas hace 20 años, 15 años, 10 años y ahora, por supuesto, el cambio es enorme y vienen en decremento, en parte porque la pirámide poblacional también ha cambiado, ¿no? Ahora hay menos jóvenes, pero también por eso que hemos venido debatiendo hoy. Y el otro problema está en que, ¿qué pasa cuando llegan y si no somos capaces de retenerlos y de hacer que su carrera la sientan atractiva? Y no se trata de voy a decir algo que no suena muy popular, pero no es un concurso de belleza de si somos la mejor, pero sí se trata de que los estudiantes entiendan desde los primeros niveles que esta carrera tiene muchas oportunidades. Y la forma que hemos encontrado, y en algunos casos puede ser efectiva, es las conversaciones que tienen con los egresados, con los jóvenes contadores, y que esas conversaciones sean dinámicas de manera que estos jóvenes que llegan, que no son muchos, pero que no se nos vayan y podamos nosotros retenerlos. Un poco allí, y tendríamos pues necesidad de mucho más tiempo para revisarlo, pero creo que esto puede cerrar allí.
Lovely, thank you so much for that. Other panellists, see the questions as easy, but if there's anything there that you did want to take, Sandra, you look like you're about to respond.
Yeah, there's a comment regarding the pass rates. I think, voy a hacerlo en español, sorry.
Let me do this in Spanish, sorry. Okay, so we are looking at, well, part of the information that we collected through our regional survey is that there's a certain level of dissatisfaction with the quality of students that are getting to the work interviews. And there has been a decline in the quality, and it seems that it's happening in several countries of the region. And so I think that connection with universities is very important so that they can be updated regarding what the market requires, and auditing firms and companies as well. What is required today, and make sure that the universities are in tune with this, and also the upskilling plans in the firms. In our case, we invest a lot of money and resources in improving the technical capacities of our personnel, not only putting their hands in technologies like the chat, GPT, etc., but also teach them how to use those. I believe that those are two matters that have to be taken into consideration to mitigate the decline in pass rates. Pass rates.
Tasas de aprobación.
Translate that in action. Isso é difícil, porque o que nós sabemos que podemos fazer, nós já estamos fazendo, nós estamos tentando. Mas eu acho que todos vão concordar que aí nós vamos entrar num processo de uma mudança cultural muito grande. Não basta alterar.
I think that we know we're going to enter a big cultural change. It's not just about changing the study plans, but we need to convince those professors that are in the universities nowadays to go out of their comfort zone, to try and look new expertise, new experiences, new capabilities to teach the students. So I think that it's all going to start in a great culture change. And the Accountant Federal Council has a very big responsibility in that, which is to get together all of the high-level learning institutions and have like webinars, seminars, conferences, debates actively and massively. Because the first thing I think that it's easy to be facing the challenges to change the culture of the professors that have been there for years, talking the same thing for years.
To each of the panelists just for some very, very brief final remarks. We saw one of the questions there was, I think it's the second last one on the screen, about the specific actions that we can take. And that will be the basis of the question, but it will be, what is the one action you think we should take from your perspective in light? Because we've touched on the attraction quite a bit. We've touched on preparation. We haven't really spoken, because it's a tough area and it needs its own discussion about retention as much, but just the one action from the discussions that have occurred today, and we'll just run it through the sequence. So back to you, Maria Elena, first, please.
Well, one, creo que
I believe that curricular change, I would recommend referring to the studies conducted by GPPC and studies from the Center for Equality. There's very valuable information there that we can implement in our territories. Who delivers the message, the narrative, even that is indicated there. The study shows that the student listens more if the message is delivered by someone that's experienced in the area but that has a similar background and that is younger. And so maybe it might be not as effective if I deliver the message because I'm 60 years old. Maybe it would be best to have a senior associate that's 25 years old. Maybe they should deliver the message. So that's my recommendation. Go to those reports and implement that in your territories. Gracias. Sandra, por favor.
Quando eu vejo a descentralização regulatória que a gente tem no Brasil, eu acho que uma das possibilidades seria a gente unificar um pouco essas entidades reguladoras, para que todos possam falar a mesma língua. Isso não, sem prejuízo da transparência, sem prejuízo da confiabilidade, da comparabilidade. A redução dessa complexidade, eu acho que seria interessante. E também, como você disse, mostrar para os jovens as várias áreas de especialização. A contabilidade, ela propicia isso, ela é extremamente rica, são várias áreas de negócio. A minha área, por exemplo, da contabilidade, sempre foi o controle no setor público, o controle externo. Eu sou de origem de Tribunal de Contas no Estado. Então, assim, é tanta possibilidade da gente se apaixonar por uma área e é a paixão. Ao se apaixonar por uma área, o jovem fica nela. Eu já tenho mais de 40 anos na profissão e nunca pensei em mudar, porque eu me encontrei numa área prazerosa para mim de trabalho.
Lovely, thank you, Sandra. So, colleagues, we've come to the end. I'm not going to try and summarise, but if I can at least leave us with this sense of optimism. We all agree with the common goal of what we can do and respond to the challenges that we've heard today. Understanding the challenges is one aspect. Getting the collaboration and the call to action and the execution is what's called critical. And let me give you our commitment. That's the role that IFAC can play. Our level of convening power and uniting our profession is something we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Un aplauso para el panel.
Thank you. Please, a big round of applause for our panel. And we have almost reached the end of the event. And so for the closing remarks, I would like to invite Oscar Núñez del Arco, General Accounting Director from the Ministry of Economy, and Joseph Moviro Quisito, Practice Institutions and Financial Management Director at the World Bank.
Muy buenas tardes con todos.
Good afternoon to you all. It has been a pleasure to host this 12th edition of CReCER, to accompany global partners in this events preparation. These events and conferences are very necessary because they help us being updated. They update us, and they foster experience sharing, networking, and they also take us to new places, new cultures, and allow us to enjoy good food and good moments, good times. We also know that our region has been going through very complex situations with the social problems, political problems, and lack of citizens' trust, and also several problems in terms of ethics and in business. And also climate impact makes things harder. Many of us are yet recovering from the effects of the pandemic, and we're trying to reestablish macroeconomic indicators, create new jobs through investments, and reduce poverty gaps. And so there are more needs that we need to tend to, and the governments as well as the business sector need to make timely decisions based on reliable sources. And so we need quality information to support good decision making, improve economic conditions, decrease gaps in our countries, and I not only mean accounting information, but also complementary information that describes the company's strategies, how it faces risks, and how it contributes to global sustainability. And this is a role that we have to play as accountants regarding public good, transparency, and generating trust in society. We have listened to a lot of key recommendations, and I really like the last panel, and of course, all of the other panels that we've had during this day and a half. But I would like to highlight some key messages. First of all, we are aware of the challenges related to implementing national standards regarding accounting, ethics, auditing, sustainability, etc. And this does not only depend on the accounting department's efforts, it has to do with the strategic leaders of companies and governments. And for this, we need to strengthen capacities in all of our teams, foster continuous improvement of processes, and adapt information requirements according to the size of companies, SMEs, etc. And the the purpose of business is not only to maximize financial benefits. They must generate value for all stakeholders and society. Our job then will be to support companies, large and small, to achieve the connection between economic benefits and the social and environmental benefits with ethic and moral values. We do not necessarily require regulatory obligation. It must be a business decision that helps transform institutional objectives and that creates trust in investors. And finally, the use of artificial intelligence is without any doubt. Artificial intelligence is an ally, and we need to understand it and to define to what extent we need to use it to process accounting information or sustainability information. Also use it in auditing processes, either in the public or private sectors. And so the recommendation is to create reference frameworks that allow us to comply with procedures and corporate demands. So accounting is not boring, it's very dynamic, and we need to be up to date with the technical knowledge and the standards, and also specific knowledge, like, for example, regarding AI, data analytics. And we need to generate trust for investors in society. And we have the opportunity to give a new image in our profession and inspire the new generations in the professional field that we have. We have work purposefully for society and for the country's sustainable growth. I would like to thank the World Bank and all of the global partners that have made this event in your country possible. My team in Peru and the Professional Association of Public Accountants. Also, thanks to the international organizations that have been with us, who are representatives, and that have contributed with their experiences and recommendations so that we can continue carrying out our profession in the region and the world. Thanks to everyone for being present, and I hope that the organization was of your liking, our cuisine and our people's warmth. I wish you the best in your professional and personal lives. God bless you, and have a good trip back to your countries. You will always be welcome, and we will be glad to welcome you back.
Buenas tardes a todos y todas. Después de
Good afternoon or good day to you all. After this day and a half of exchange and collaboration, we have reached the end of this edition of CReCER 2025. And I know that many of you are already thinking about your flight to go back home. Please stay for a couple more minutes to reflect together on what we have lived together here in Lima. I'm not going to repeat or summarize what my colleague just said, but I would like to emphasize on certain points. I would like to start with special thanks to the Ministry of Economy and Finance, Ministry of Peru, under the leadership of Oscar Núñez. And I would also like to thank the Council of Deans of Accounting Professional Associations and Wendy Ioka. Where's Wendy? She is there. Your support has been key for this conference to become true. Thank you for opening your country's doors. Thank you for your commitment with transparency and accountability. And thank you for being a key partner in this shared mission. Thank you, Oscar and Wendy. I would also like to thank our global partners, World Bank Group, of course, IFAC, Lee, Manuel, the Inter-American Development Bank, Javier and his team, the Global Public Policy Committee. I don't know if Jennifer is around. Oh, yeah, she's there. Thank you very much. Your leadership and vision have been the engine behind this initiative from the very beginning in 2007. If something has been made clear during these 2 days is that accounting and auditing are not what they used to be 20 years ago when we started with the CReCER initiative. Today, we talk about sustainability, technology, global standards, interconnectedness, and how all of this is translated into better decisions for our economies. We started the conference by looking at the regional challenges. We listened to experts from the World Bank, IDB, my friend Javier that talked about the economic priorities in Latin America and the Caribbean, and how accountability can be a powerful tool for development. And then we talked about sustainability standards, and we had the privilege of having leaders from international organizations that issue norms for accounting and auditing and sustainability. And they talked about the need of aligning our accounting practices with the expectations from markets, regulators, and of course, the citizens. One of the most enriching moments, in my opinion, were the experiences several countries in terms of adopting standards, implementing them, and what were the challenges they found. They showed us that even although each country has its own context, we all face similar challenges. And so there's a need to train, to coordinate, and political will are the essential elements for a successful implementation and strengthening the accounting profession and the auditing profession. In our parallel sessions, we talked about topics that were as diverse as climate information in the public sector, sustainability of mid-sized companies, and corporate risk management. And also how integrity systems can go beyond compliance, beyond normative compliance, regulatory compliance, to create true trust. And today I will close with two key topics. On one side, how can technology be an ally? Artificial intelligence is truly augmented intelligence and not a threat in auditing and financial management. On the other hand, how to attract and retain talents in your profession. And this is the session that just ended, because we can have the best standards in the world, but without trained people and motivated people, we will not go very far. And now allow me to pause to tell you who have made this event possible, our speakers. Thank you for sharing your patience, your time, and your passion. You have elevated the level of this conference, and you have left us with a lot to think about. So to our MC, Adriana, thank you for guiding us with a smile, with professionalism and punctuality. Thanks to the hotel personnel, thank you for your hospitality and for coffee always in time and for making us feel at home. We also have the photographers and the media team. Thanks for capturing each moment even the moments in which we didn't know that our pictures were taken. And so we're going to wait for those pictures on the website. And thanks to the interpreters for their professionalism. This morning, I was afraid because some speakers were speaking very quickly, and I was worried that maybe the interpreters wouldn't be able to translate and follow everything that was being said. But they told me that there was no problems, that there were no problems. And for this event, to organize events, there's also a mysterious group that has worked for months and that has been working behind the scene and the backstage. It's a group of people that coordinated the activities, that organized that bought the plane tickets, and that made the hotel reservations. And that sent you all communications regarding this event. I am talking about the CReCER Secretariat, led by Mrs. Lourdes Linares. And I'm going to ask the Secretariat and their staff to stand up to receive the applause of everyone.
Bertin, sí, todo.
Lourdes, Bertin, and the whole team, thank you very much.
Ustedes son los verdaderos héroes detrás.
You are the true heroes in the backstage. And of course, big thanks to you, our participants. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your energy, for your attention, for your ideas, and your commitment. We know that leaving your responsibilities, the office, the family, the project, is not easy, but your presence has made this event something that's truly special. CReCER is not only a conference,
Es una red.
it's a community, it's a network of professionals, of institutions and countries that believe in the power of transparency, accountability, and collaboration, regional collaboration. That network, thanks to you, in this 12th edition of CReCER, is stronger than ever. And we must continue strengthening the network. And so while we say goodbye, I would like to ask you to take away the presentations and the context, but also CReCER's spirit and the commitment that with continuous improvement and innovation and to work for the sustainability and development of a region. And we will see you at the next edition of CReCER. Good travel, safe travel. And now I will declare the 12th edition of CReCER closed. Thank you very much.
Gracias a todos. Y bueno, ahora.
Thank you to you all, and now we will go to lunch. It's in the terrace like yesterday, and for those who have not booked your transportation yet, please do it. It's very urgent, and please visit the web, disseminate the web, and good safe travel to you all.